From Hawthorne High School, it is the Ocean League action. Beverly Hills Normans coming in to take on the Hawthorne Cougars. And good afternoon from Halcap Field. First pitch was a ball. The second pitch is also a ball. Three and 0 now is Jose Banuelos on the mound for the Hawthorne Cougars. Pitching to Jack Ross, the right fielder for the Beverly Hills Normans, coming in at 6 and 11 and 1 and 2 now in Ocean League action, and a first inning walk. Could we please turn the truck down? Thank you. Jared Foreman, followed by Andres Brilliant. And then it'll be Nick Reskin, Zach Gone, Ethan Foreman, Grant Thompson, and Jackson Martin, along with Rigo Fernandez, as the first pitch into the left-hand hitting Foreman is in for a strike. So those are the Normans. And here comes Banuelos' pitch. It's in the dirt, 1-1. The defense behind Banuelos, there you see him there. In left field, it'll be Jose Sandoval, and it already is Jose Sandoval. Steve Leyva is in center field in his normal spot. Breaking ball, and that just missed, and it's 2-1. And we have a couple of new players on the Cougars team, so we'll have to straighten that out. And that one's hit high in the air to right field. Marquez lets it go over his head, and that one hit into the wind, and that's a home run. That's into the tennis courts, and he belted that one, did Jared Foreman, for a home run. And it's 2-0 Normans right off the bat. So big number 9, that's a big number to carry, at least in the hockey world, with Bobby Hull and Gordie Howe. And number 99, Wayne Gretzky. But boy, number 9 in baseball just belted one out of here. That's Jared Foreman. And Foreman is going to be the starting pitcher for these Normans. And that'll bring up Andres Brilliant, the catcher. Lifted a ball up, and this wind, you can hear it howling from the microphone, and it went in across the wind, so that one was a shot by Foreman. Next pitch is in for a strike. It's 1-1 to Brilliant. Strike 2, 1-2. Brilliant coming in, batting .386. Foreman, who just hit the home run, that is his first of the year. And boy, he got all of it. Didn't miss one bit of it. And this one's hit high in the air to short center field. In for it comes Leyva, and it falls in for a base hit. See if we can see that again on the replay and see how close Steve Leyva came to getting that one. I'm sure the wind caught a hold of that one, so we're going to call that a base hit. Nick Reskin steps in now for the Normans, wearing their San Francisco Giant type colors, and this one's lined down the left field line, but that goes foul. Reskin coming in, batting .300. The Normans have woken up, talking to Vinzy Pasinger, the head coach of the Normans, who's down at third base, said that it's just been a roller coaster ride this year. And without Beverly Hills reporting the scores from Morningside, we just didn't ask them what the scores were or wins and losses from that one. As a matter of fact, didn't get one from the Hawthorne game either, so Beverly Hills not doing their homework. But they're doing it out on the baseball diamond with a 2-0 lead on the home run by Jared Foreman. Banuelos checking the runner. There he goes, and the pitch is swung on, and that's hit down the left field line, and that is going to go foul. So Brilliant will have to go back to first. Continuing on the defensive alignment, Robert Marquez is out in center field. Check that, right field. This one's off the hands, and it's blooped into left field for a base hit. Almost got over the head of Sandoval as he gets it back into the infield. So down to second base goes Brilliant on the base hit to left field by Nick Riskin. And that'll bring up Zach Gone. Zach coming in, batting .278. Zach is a senior on this team. Bunts it up the first baseline, and just one play for Banuelos. Throws it over to Jonathan Marquez, who's covering on the play, and the sacrifice is good, 1-3. And that moves over Brilliant to third, and Nick Reskin to second base. So now there's one down. Banuelos pitches low to Ethan Foreman, who's the designated hitter for Parker Davis, who's the left fielder on the Normans. Curveball, and that's a beauty. Ethan Foreman, not getting a lot of playing time, it looks like, is batting .118. Well, he does have 38 plate appearances, and grounds this one, and that hit the cut of the grass, almost took Brandonovich's head off at third base. That's Eric Brandonovich, just moved up from JV, and on the base hit, Brilliant scores to make it 3-0, and Riskin moves down to third base. On the infield hit by Ethan Foreman. Just checking on Foreman, Ethan Foreman. He's a senior, and his brother Jared, who just hit the home run, he's also a senior. Grant Thompson, the shortstop, checks in, and this pitch is in the dirt. Runners at the corners with one out. Outside, 2-0. So we met Eric Brandonovich over at third base, and now coming out is Jeff Hines to talk to Jose Banuelos. So we'll take time to introduce you to the rest of the defense of the Hawthorne Cougars. Andrew Banuelos is over at shortstop. Jonathan Marquez is at second. Mike Henderson is at first, and Chris Robles is at catcher with the brand new helmet, sporting the Cougars colors. There you see Jeff Hines, the head coach Jeff doing a great job. And now coming out to clear things up, so Ramey McCoy, the home plate umpire, says, let's get this going. Jeff Hines leading his Cougars right now to an 11-8-1 record. And they are 0-5 in Ocean League action. Have lost 5 in a row, but they're 6-3 here at home. Ron White is the base umpire today. And that's a breaking ball in for a strike, 2-1. So whatever Coach Hines said, Banuelos concurred and pitches a strike. There's an old story about Dodger Hall of Famer Sandy Koufax, and this one's grounded to second base, and Marquez went over to cover the bag at second, and that left the hole open. And on the RBI base hit, that makes it 4-0. Ethan Foreman goes all the way to third base on the play on the RBI single by Grant Thompson. So for Thompson, that's RBI number 4. Runners at the corners again with just one out, and Jackson Martin steps in. Curve ball, and that's low. Martin playing out in right field today. Pitches a ball, and the throw bounced down and in safe with a stolen base is Thompson. He got a good jump. Not a lot of stolen bases listed by the Normans. So it's 2-0 now to Martin. Make that 2-1. So that takes the double play out of the equation right now, at least the easy way. Curveball, and that's called strike 3. Jackson Martin didn't think so, but that was a beauty. That was a big hook by Banuelos. That was his best curveball of the day so far. So now there's 2 down. And Rigo Fernandez grounds it to second base. Marquez comes up with it and throws over to Mike Henderson for the inning-ending out. 9 men come to the plate on the 4-3 putout, and the Normans sport a 4-0 lead. As we go to the bottom of the first, the Cougars will face Jared Foreman. Bottom of the first inning at Halcap Field on the campus of Hawthorne High School. And it'll be Jonathan Marquez, Steve Leyva, Andrew Banuelos, Chris Robles, Jose Sandoval, Robert Marquez, Jose Banuelos, and then Eric Brandonovich and Mike Henderson to face Jared Foreman. Fastball up around the eyes for ball 1. Jared Foreman introduced himself to the Cougars with a home run in the second at bat and made it 2-0. Jonathan Marquez coming in batting 381. Over the top fastball is up high. So it's 3-0. Jonathan Marquez looking for a walk. Foreman probably still feeling the euphoria of a home run. So 4 pitches and a walk. 9 Normans came to the plate to face Banuelos. Steve Leyva steps in. Ball getting away. Foreman coming into today's game with a 1-5 record. Fun attempt, and that's outside for a ball. This is the 7th appearance for Jared on the inside corner for a strike. And the 5th start. Foreman has 12 strikeouts and 17 walks as this is bunted up the third baseline and goes foul. So it's 2-2 to Leyva. Good idea as he was bunting definitely for a hit and almost got it there as Nick Reskin was playing behind the bag at third base and just a little bit behind, about a step behind the bag right now with a 2-strike count on Steve Leyva. But Jeff Hines still might have that bunt sign on. Jonathan Marquez, little speedster, and this one is a curveball that bends outside, and it's 3-2. Foreman in the stretch. Fastball and strike 3 called, and Leyva knew it. So first strikeout for Foreman, and up steps Andrew Banuelos. Jonathan Marquez is 6 out of 6 in stolen bases, so he can get it done. Is he the leader on the team? Nope, that would be Gutierrez. Or actually, Steve Leyva is the leader with 11, as Foreman tries to keep Marquez close. Andrew Banuelos stepping in. As you can hear that wind, it's really causing that jet stream going from home plate out to left field. Andrew Banuelos coming in batting .364, and the fastball, and that's a late swing, and it fouled off. 10 RBI, 3 doubles for Andrew. It's a 1-strike count. Chris Robles would be next. So Jonathan Marquez on at first with a leadoff walk. Change up, and that's hit high in the air to right center field. Settling underneath it is Rigo Fernandez. So 2 down for Chris Robles. Well, we got a chance. Let's introduce you to the Normans defensively. Out in left field, it's Parker Davis. Rigo Fernandez is in center, and Jackson Martin is in right. From third to first, Nick Riskin is at third. Grant Thompson at shortstop. Jack Ross at second base. And Zach Goen is over at first. Behind the plate, Andres Brilliant and Jared Foreman on the mound. A curveball, and that's grounded over to Riskin. Makes the long throw across, and that'll do it for the Cougars. They get a leadoff walk and leave Jonathan Marquez on after the 5-3 put out. And we'll go down to the top of the second inning as you watch Riskin's play over to first to end the inning. The throw over to Goen. Top of the second we go, and it'll be the top of the order for the Normans. It'll be Jack Ross, Jared Foreman, and Andres Brilliant to face Jose Banuelos, who gave up 4 runs on 5 hits, struck out a batter, and walked a batter. And Jack Ross is that batter that walked. He came in to score on Jared Foreman's 2-run shot. That was belted to right field. Next pitch is up for a ball. So Jack Ross coming in, batting .359 with 2 RBI, no extra base hits. In for a strike, 2-1. So Ross playing second base for Venzi Pasinger. Pasinger family
well entrenched in community service here in Los Angeles County. This foul tipped into the glove now. It's 2-2 to Ross. Good change of pace by Banuelos. Banuelos rocks, pops it up, and should be okay for Henderson. That wind is really wreaking havoc. It didn't go very high. That changed direction about 2 or 3 times on the way down. So 1 down, here comes Jared Foreman. And he hit the shot back in the first inning. And Mike Henderson doing a good job to stay out of the baseline. Curveball, and that stays outside. Foreman with 2 more RBI. So he had doubled up. He has 4 RBI now as he looks at a curveball in for a strike. And down at Vinzi Pasinger for the sign. Well, there's nobody on. Two and one. Even though Foreman did hit that ball very hard in the top of the first, I didn't think it had a chance to go out because the wind was blowing so hard. But now it's 2-2. But the ball just kept traveling and went over the high fence here at Halcap. And that bounces in front of Chris Robles, now full 3-2. That ball just kept going. Swing and a miss in the dirt. Robles has to dig it out and throw down to Henderson. So it's a strikeout 2-3, and that's strikeout number 2 for Banuelos. So 2 down, and Andres Brilliant coming up. First pitch is low for a ball. Banuelos pressed into service because of some roster issues. 2-0. This is only his 3rd appearance and 3rd start. This came in the game with 1 strikeout and 1 walk. Now it's 1-1. Nice fastball by Banuelos. Maybe the Butterflies are leaving or have left the field. That'd be good for Jose. Low, and it's 2-1. So for Jose, coming into the game, he had only pitched 1 1/3 innings. This one's hammered into left center field into the gap. Steve Leyva gives chase, and that one is a ground rule double. One hopped over the fence, and he didn't miss that one going over the wall by much. Let's watch it. Fastball up, and he just nailed it. There's Steve Leyva saying it's over the fence via the bounce. So with 2 down, that'll bring up Nick Riskin. Riskin had a base hit and scored back in the first inning. Nick coming in batting an even .300 and the RBI leader with 12. So he knows how to get those guys around. First pitch is fouled off. So for Brilliant, that was his 18th hit in the dirt. And Brilliant, that was his 2nd double, his 2nd extra base hit. So 2 down, and this one's over the head. So at the 2-1 count, Jose Banuelos and the Cougars just trying to get back in the dugout before any more damage here in the second inning. Actually, it was all done in the first inning as Marquez calls off Henderson to put that pop fly away to end the threat of Beverly Hills. So we go to the bottom of the second inning after we show you the replay. And that wind is just picking the ball up in that jet stream. Marquez handling it nicely for the putout. So no runs on a hits and a man left as we go to the bottom of the second. And the Normans still holding that 4-run lead. Bottom of the second inning we go. Jose Sandoval, Robert Marquez, and Jose Banuelos in that order. Foreman overthrows it all the way to the backstop. Or Foreman, I should say. Jose Sandoval stepping in. The left fielder for Jeff Hines. Coaching over at first base, Oscar Robles. Over at first. And A.J. Martin on the bench. In for a strike. Nice pitch by Foreman. Sandoval wanted time and got it. Jose coming in batting .262 with 11 hits and 17 RBI. The RBI leader on this team. Now it's 2-2. Breaking ball stays up, and it's full at 3-2. Sandoval trying to get on any way he can. Swings and misses. That's a tough pitch to stay away from. That comes up there looking like a beach ball. But it didn't go anywhere except right into the glove of Andres Brilliant. That'll bring up Robert Marquez. First pitch into Robert is in for a strike, overhand fastball. Breaking ball, and that swung on and missed. A good pitch. So 0-2 to Robert. Time is called, and so Ramey McCoy will take time to do some house cleaning. Fastball, and that's away. 1-2. So 1 out, nobody on for the Cougars. But that one was up high but actually it was called strike 3. So 2 strikeouts in the inning. It was Robert Marquez thought it was high. 3 strikeouts overall. That'll bring up Jose Banuelos, who's pitching today for the Cardinals. He fouls it off. Or it might have just bounced. 0-1. Jose, just a sophomore, bouncing around, trying to find his way onto the lineup, and a nice big bounce. And that was into the glove of Grant Thompson, who threw it over to Zach Goen to make the 6-3 putout on Jose Banuelos. 1-2-3 go the Cougars. And there you see that nice big hop. Nice stretch over on the other side. We'll go to the third. Zach Goen and Ethan Foreman and Grant Thompson to face Jose Banuelos, who just bounced out to short with a 4-0 lead. 1-0 to Goen, who sacrificed to Banuelos back in the first inning. So Goen came in batting .278. Looks at ball 2. So Banuelos had a shaky first inning. Nice curveball. Now it's 2-1. Settled down in the second inning, gave up the ground rule double to Brilliant. So faced 4 batters. So now it's 3-1 to Zach Goen. So let's see if Banuelos can keep his rhythm going. Nice curveball to load up the count at 3-2. It's fouled off of the glove of Chris Robles, and he wanted to catch that one. Robles doing a good job all season long for the Cougars. Curveball, and that's hit into the gap into left center field for a base hit. Nice piece of hitting done by Zach Goen. That'll bring up Ethan Foreman, who's designated hitting for Parker Davis. Foreman had an infield hit and was stranded at third back in the first inning, and looks at a curveball as he was squaring to bunt. Got it back in time, and it's 1-0. Going over at first base as the first baseman. Yeah, you're at this level and you can still have the legs enough to. Whoops, Mike Henderson doing a good job of getting that pickoff. This isn't a big running team. Only one person with even a blip on the base stealing radar, and that's a strike. Bunted out and missed. And coming in is the third baseman, Eric Brandonovich, still playing out on the grass. The rest of the infield is set for a double play, except for Mike Henderson, who's holding on Goen. There goes the runner, and the pitch is fouled off, so he'll have to go back. So now it's 1-2 to Ethan Foreman. Let's see if he goes again. He being Goen, and nope, he doesn't go as the pitch is in the dirt. 2-2. Ethan coming in, batting just 118, but he does have 4 RBI. Banuelos steps off the rubber. Try to cool things off. So now with a 2-2 count, Brandonovich at third base is back at the cut of the grass to cut off a hard ground ball. And the pitch was in the dirt. Goen was off with the pitch, and he is in with a stolen base. So now it's 3-2 to Foreman with a runner in scoring position and one of the top RBI guys up at the plate for Beverly Hills, at least per at bat. Up under the chin, and nobody out and 2 men on for the Normans. second walk of the day for Sandoval. Check that, Banuelos. And that'll bring up Grant Thompson. Thompson had an RBI single to right field back in the first inning to score Nick Riskin. And now scoring around a bunt is Thompson. Pulls it back, and the ball is low. The pitch is low for a ball. Going at second, over at first is Foreman, Ethan Foreman. Ball is in the dirt. And Goen takes advantage of it and goes down to third base. And here comes Jeff Hines, the head coach for the Cougars. There is a Cougar throwing down in the bullpen, but don't know if they're going to make a change this early in the game. Jeff Hines just wants to go out to his sophomore pitcher who doesn't have a lot of experience out there and try to help him out. Saying just throw a strike to the guy bunting. So a powwow on the mound, everybody getting their instructions from Jeff Hines. With nobody out, runners at the corners. Now home plate umpire Raymond McCoy coming out to try to break the party up on the mound. But there aren't too many streamers and favors out there, that's for sure. So it's 2-0 to Thompson, with runners at the corners, and Banuelos just trying to keep everybody close and also trying to see if there was a play on, even though the Normans are up 4-0. But they're having trouble scoring runs as well. So if they have an opportunity to get more, they're going to get it or take it. 3-0. Curveball, and that finds a strike zone. A nice bender by Jose. So Pasinger telling his runner at first, Ethan Foreman, not to go anywhere with no outs and a 3-ball count. Curveball, and that is low. Nice pitch by Jose, but didn't find the strike zone. So that loads the bases up for Jackson Martin. Third walk of the day for Banuelos. And Chris Robles wants to go out to talk to Jose to probably say, this is what we're going to do if the ground ball comes back to you. With nobody out, would be opportune for Jose to, well, looks like Jeff Hines is going to make a pitching change now, because this is his second time to the mound this inning. So with nobody out and the bases loaded, Jose Banuelos will be replaced. Just trying to catch his number. I'm just trying to catch my papers in the wind. number 14 for the Hawthorne Cougars, and he is not on our list. So why don't we take a timeout? We'll try to figure out who number 14 is on City TV. New pitcher for the Cougars is Albert Melhandres, and he will face Jackson Martin with no outs and bases loaded. It's a nice way to get thrown into the fire. Albert, one of the new kids on the block. And a fastball or a slider, we'll figure out what Albert has in his repertoire. But that's in for a strike, and that's what Jeff Hines and the Cougars need. Fastball in on the hands, and that's just blooped into left field for a base hit. 1 run scores. The ball is kicked around by Sandoval, 2-run score. And down underneath the tag slides Zach Goen. But an RBI base hit for Jackson Martin, a 2 RBI hit, and that makes it 6-0 in favor of the Normans. So on the throw, Martin takes second base. Zach Goen scores, Ethan Foreman scores, and Grant Thompson goes all the way around to third base, and that makes room for Rigo Fernandez. And the base came out of its holding there, and Vinzi Pasinger doing some house cleaning for the Cougars. I wonder if the Pasinger family were good Boy Scouts. I wonder if he's got his Boy Scout Army knife or his base digging tool. Pasinger family, like we were saying, boy, they are so involved in the community. Venzi's brother is the head football coach at Beverly Hills, and Venzi's nephew plays for the New York Giants. And then Earl Pasinger, another brother, or another one of the Pasinger family, is an assistant chief with the Los Angeles Police Department. So the Pasinger family doing good deeds every day for the citizens of LA County. Let's take a little break on City TV. Got our base issues taken care of. It's anchored in. Grant Thompson at third. Jackson Martin with the single. The 2 RBI single is at second. First pitch to Rigo Fernandez. Sails high and away. Fernandez 0 for 1. Grounded out to second his first time up. On the outside corner, 1-1. Nice pitch by Albert Melhandres. Fouled off, and it's 2-2. In the dirt, and that gets by Robles, but it comes right back to him in the short backstop. And now it's 3-2. And that one's bounced foul up the first baseline. Still stays at 3-2. So Mel Harris coming on in relief after the bases were loaded by Banuelos. And that one's on the outside corner, but just outside as Robles held it. But Ramey McCoy not buying it. So the bases are loaded again, and up comes to the top of the order, and Jack Ross. Ross is 0 for 1, walked and scored and popped out to first base back in the second inning. So 3 innings, 3 at-bats for Jack Ross. Playing at second base for Paysinger and the Normans. Fastball up high, 1-0. Beverly Hills coming in at least 1-2. Again, we don't have any results, and that goes down the first baseline away from Brandonovich, and that scores the run. Everybody moves up 90 feet. Grant Thompson spikes the plate to make it 7-0 in favor of the Normans on the RBI single by Jackie Ross. So Martin moves to third. To second goes Fernandez. And now Jared Foreman with the big stick started things off with a big 2-run home run back in the first inning. Now has a chance to really hurt the Cougars. First pitch is a ball outside. So Albert Melhares in a mess, trying to get a double play ball. Marquez boots it, and everybody's safe on the error by Marquez. Boy, he wanted that double play so badly. Just took his eye off of it for a second because he got that nice hop and wanted to do too much with it. There you see it coming up. Was on his way to second to try to do the 4-3 double play. But on the play, Jackson Martin comes in. Rigo Fernandez over to third. To second is Ross. And Foreman on at first. So no RBI. It's now 8-0. And this was grounded to third base. Brandonovich gets one out and then sails his throw way over Henderson at first base. And everybody moves up. So in to score is Fernandez to make it 9-0. And down to third base goes Ross. And actually Ross scores. And that makes it 10-0. So Foreman over. Actually, it is 9-0, pardon me. And there's an out. Riskin 1-3 on the putout. And that'll bring up Zach Gone again. This one's hit high in the air to center field, and coming on is Leyva to put it away. But in the inning, 5 runs come across, and it's 9-0 in favor of the Normans. Eric Brandonovich is the pitcher. But check that is at bat. This is his first at bat, and swings and misses, and it's 1-1. 9-0 in favor of Beverly Hills. 9 runs on 9 hits, 1 error for the Cougars. Walks came back to bite the Cougars. 1, 2, 3 walks in the inning. 2 by Banuelos. And Brandonovich grounds it sharply as Zach Goen picks it up and does it himself. So 3 unassisted on the put-up. That'll bring up Mike Henderson. Henderson in his first at bat. As Jared Foreman has pitched a perfect game after the leadoff walk to Jonathan Marquez. So 1 over the minimum for Foreman. And the Cougars need to get something going before this really slips away. Cougars lost at Beverly Hills yesterday, or Tuesday, I should say. And that was a 10-0 loss at Beverly Hills. Fastball, and that's up. So if there's one thing Foreman has not been able to do, and that's keep that fastball down. There's a breaking ball that finds the spot. 2-2 to Mike Henderson. Swings and misses on a fastball in on the hands. And down goes Henderson. That's his 4th strikeout on the day. That'll bring up Jonathan Marquez. Jonathan, the only Cougar to reach base, had a leadoff walk back in the first inning. And trying to bunt his way on. Nice play by the third baseman, Nick Riskin, to throw him out, to field it and throw him out. 5-3 on the putout. 1, 2, 3 go the Cougars again, as we'll watch this one. As Marquez did a good job, but Riskin was better on the defensive end, and a nice dig by Goen over at first. Nine to nothing's our score, and up to bat is Ethan Foreman, and he sends it high in the air to right field and sends Robert Marquez all the way back to the wall for the out. So Foreman making it easy on Albert Belhares, coming in for Jose Banuelos, who gave up 4 runs on 5 hits. In 2+ innings. Ground ball to first. Nice stop by Henderson. He's going to have to hurry and beat it. Maharis was slow getting off the mound, and Henderson had to try to do it himself. Grant Thompson really motoring up the line. The shortstop got it done and gets the infield hit. See, Maharis isn't even in your picture yet. He should have been there. So we'll give the infield hit to Thompson. And now Jackson Martin sends the first pitch to him over Marquez's head. That's slicing away, and it falls right in between Leyva and Marquez. Split that Bermuda Triangle between Marquez, Leyva, and Marquez. So drops in for a hit, a tough luck hit, 2 tough luck hits. And that'll bring up the bottom of the order, and Rigo Fernandez, the center fielder. Fernandez 0 for 1, bounced out in the first inning to second and walked and scored back in the third. Bounced in by Maharis. And it's 2-0. One out and 2 on. Norman's knocking on the door again, and this one's poked foul. So 2-1 now to Rigo Fernandez. Maharis looking back at the runners. And this one's hit high and hard into deep right center field. And that one is out of here. A 3-run home run by Rigo Fernandez, not acting like the number 9 hitter at all. He just nailed that one. In the old days, they say it hit that one on the screws. 3-run home run for Rigo Fernandez. And that makes it 12-0 in favor of Beverly Hills. So for Fernandez, that's home run number 1 and RBI 3, 4, and 5. So jet stream or not, there's been 2 absolute shots hit by Beverly Hills. That one, a 3-run shot by Fernandez, and Jared Foreman hit one in the first inning. So coming in to score runs, Grant Thompson and Jackson Martin. So that's just about the way the Hawthorne season is gone. They got 1 out, and then all of a sudden, a tough luck ground ball infield hit, and then a tough luck pop fly for a hit. And then the bomb. So Jack Ross coming in now. And it's 2-1 to Jackie. Has a base hit and an RBI. That was back in the 3rd inning. And walked and scored in front of Foreman's 2-run home run in the first. And this one's hit hard into left field for a base hit. And up comes Jared Foreman. Jared has pitched to just 1 batter over the minimum, as you see the base hit by Ross. Jared walked Jonathan Marquez to lead off their offense in the bottom of the first inning, and that's been the only base runner the Cougars have had. Breaking ball, and that stays away. Foreman is 1 for 2. 2-run home run in the first, struck out in the second, and was on an error in the third. So Ramey McCoy getting some things straight. Probably an equipment issue out of the dugout. Ball is bounced in front of Robles. And on the wild pitch, Ross is down at second. So now Foreman has an RBI opportunity, and Jeff Hines has seen enough of young Mr. Maharis. So I do believe he's called Steve Leva in. And Jonathan Marquez goes into the dugout, I do believe. Leva is still out in center field. And trying to catch the number 13. Robert Marquez, number 13. So another youngster being brought up. Robert was in right field, so we'll have to see who takes his place out in right. There is somebody out in right field standing in right center field, if we can get a shot of that. So it's top of the 4th inning, and 1 out, and a runner on at second. And let's take a timeout. So now Jared Foreman comes in. I believe he has a count of 1-0. It's 2-0 now. Hang on 1 second. Turn me down. AJ, who's out in right field? Huh? I know who. Well, no, it's Marquez out there, right? This is Robert Maharas. Robert. Okay, who was your last pitcher, number 14? So who's out in right field? Who's on third? I don't know. First base. No. Who? I know. I'm joking. Who's number 10? Somebody out there is wearing number 10 in right field. So Max Riley would be out in right field. Number 16. Big curveball. And that's in for a strike. All right. Trying to get some things straight here. Andres Brilliant, who's been on base 3 times, had a base hit, a ground rule double, and a fielder's choice. Jared Foreman is over at first. I'm assuming he walked. If I can get some help from the truck. Strike 3 called on Brilliant. As the pitcher gets a strikeout. So no one knew if the guy at first base walked. Okay, I'm assuming he did. Nick Reskin stepping in is 1 for 3. Had a base hit and scored back in the first inning. Ground ball to the hole at second base. It's picked up by Marquez and throws out the batter, Nick Riskin, and that should do it. 4-3 on the putout, and we go to the bottom of the 4th. Steve Leyva, Andrew Banuelos' spot, and Chris Robles' spot. And they'll face Foreman, who's still out there. Ball 1. Steve Leyva struck out looking back in the first inning, just his second plate appearance. 12-0 in favor of Beverly Hills. Pitches up high. 12 runs on 13 hits, as that breaking ball was in the strike zone now. And this was fouled back. So getting the pitchers' names right, Alberto Melendrez was pitching, and then Robert Melhares is now pitching for the Cougars, was the last pitcher that we saw. And a leadoff walk for Steve Leyva, and that's the first base runner since the leadoff batter, Jonathan Marquez, in the bottom of the first, and that brings up Andrew Banuelos. Some equipment out on the diamond, not on the diamond, but in foul territory that had to be cleared out. So there we're getting things going. And this was popped up. This could be trouble, and coming in, nice play by Rigo Fernandez. Rigo calling off the second baseman, Jack Ross. Steve Leyva, still over at first base, leads the club in stolen bases with 11. As you see, the nice play by Fernandez. And in steps Robles. In for a strike. That was up in the strike zone. Robles bounced out to third base to end the first inning. That's 0-2. Jared Foreman doing it all for the Normans today. Hasn't given up a hit and started things off with the offense with a big 2-run home run. Bouncer to shortstop, picked up by Thompson. Over to Ross for one, and on to first, no. Zach Goen was pulled off the bag. So 6-4 on the put out. Leyva is out, and on at first in the fielder's choice is Chris Robles. And that'll bring up Jose Sandoval. Jose is 0 for 1, struck out to lead off the second inning. And that is Max Riley, number 16. So Riley making his first plate appearance today, and Max is batting .227 coming in. So it's 3-0 to Riley. Looking to just keep things going. And that was a high strike. I agree with Max. But my vote doesn't count either. Just outside by Foreman. Maybe he's losing a little bit of gas here in the bottom of the fourth inning. There's 2 walks and a fielder's choice. A lot of base runners now for the Cougars. The most they've had today, that's for sure. That brings up Robert Marquez. So it's 2-0 now, as that's not Marquez, this is Melhares, excuse me. Number 13 used to belong to Mark LaFoon. So one of the coaches, couple of coaches coming out, not crossing the third baseline. but talking to Andres Brilliant and also shouting some instructions to Foreman. So it really doesn't count as a trip to the mound because he didn't cross the third baseline. Once you cross the line and into the field of play, that counts as one trip to the mound. So they still have a couple of trips. So it's a little bit of a chess game by the Normans coaches. That one stays up, and I do believe it's should be 2-1 now to Robert Maharis, who came on to pitch and now earns a walk. So that loads up the bases for the Cougars. And that brings up Jose Banuelos. That's his spot. But he is out of the ball game, and Alberto Melendrez will check in. Now we have Venzi Pasinger, the head coach of the Normans, coming out to talk to Foreman. So this is Alberto's first at bat. And lines it foul over the Cougars dugout. Albert brought up from the JV, so don't have any stats on him. We're lucky to get his name. On the outside corner for a strike, 0-2. Good pitch by Foreman, and good idea by Melendrez to make Foreman pitch a strike with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Just outside, good eye. Foreman, that's way up on the breaking ball. Try by Foreman. And it looks like the bullpen's getting a little busy now for the Normans down the left field line. Swung on and missed. It goes out of the glove, and with the bases loaded, it doesn't matter anyway. So Melendez strikes out, and down go the Cougars, who leave the bases loaded. To the 5th inning we go. It'll be Zach Gone to lead things off, Ethan Foreman and Grant Thompson to face Robert Melendrez, who came on the top of the 4th inning with no outs. Big looping curveball, and that stays up. So 1-1. Look out, way inside with a fastball. That's 2-1. So 12 runs on 13 hits. No runs on no hits and 1 error for the Cougars. The 12 runs and the 13 hits belong to Beverly Hills. Now it's 2-2. And up high for ball 4. Walks really hurting the Cougars today, and that's the second one given up by Melendrez. By my count, 6 walks altogether, and that brings up Ethan Foreman's spot, the designated hitter, but that's not him as the ball gets away from Henderson on the pickoff try. So we're going to give an error on the pitcher. Pitch is up high, and let's see who's in the batter's box now. That's Parker Davis hitting for himself. So it's 2-0 to Davis. Man at second, that's Zach Goen, who walked and then went on an errant pickoff try to second base. Here comes Melendrez. Swing and a miss. 2-1. Good fastball by Melendrez. A lot of the young Cougars on a 2-1 count to Davis. A lot of the young Cougars have impressed into service by some roster moves. Fastball is up. So Melendrez, another one of the nice live arms that always seem to come out of Hawthorne High School. Just needs to fine-tune it a bit. Inside. So second walk, second batter of the 5th inning, and third walk overall given up by Melendrez, who inherited Jared Foreman with a 1-0 count in the 4th inning when he came on to relieve Albert Melhares. Actually, this is Melhares. Melendrez, he came in to relieve, and this is a base hit into right field, and that loads up the bases for Jackson Martin. And no relief in sight for the Cougars, who have already used 3 pitchers. So Jackson Martin is 2 for 3, looks at strike 1. Had a 2-run single back in the 3rd inning and a base hit to center field back in the 4th, and scored both times. Struck out looking back in the 1st inning. Looping curveball, and that stays up. On deck is Rigo Fernandez, who hit a long 3-run home run to right field back in the 4th inning. This one's fouled off the screen. 1-2. So now Melhares has it going his way. There you hear Venzi Pasinger yelling out some instructions to Jackson Martin. And that one goes all the way back to the backstop and short hops back to Robles. So that makes it 2-2. With bases loaded and nobody out for Beverly Hills. Inside corner, strike 3 called. And Melhares will take it. That's his 2nd strikeout. And that'll bring up a pinch hitter. And another player not on our roster. So number 3 steps in, probably one of the JV players coming up for a look. Curveball, and that just misses. So 1-0 to number 3. Fastball, and that's look out. That one almost went into the Cougar dugout, and it's 1-1 to number 3. On deck, another non-roster player, number 4. So it's 2-1 to number 3. Swing and a miss. 2-2. Ball is up high, 3-2 now, with one down and bases loaded for Beverly Hills. Cruising along with a 12-0 lead. Still stays 3-2. Young hitter against a young pitcher. Robert Melharis in on relief. Curveball and strike 3 called. That was a beauty by Melharis. So now 2 strikeouts looking in a row. And that brings up the top of the order and Mr. number 4. Curveball, and that just stays up high. Swing and a miss. 1-1. Swing and a miss, 1-2 now. And according to the lineup card we got from Beverly Hills, number 4 is Berger. Number 3, swing and a miss, and down go the Normans as Melharis strikes out the side after loading up the bases. And number 3 was Lucher, L-U-C-H-E-R. So we'll go to the bottom of the 5th. Eric Brandovich, Mike Henderson, and Jonathan Marquez step in to face Jared Froman. In his 5th inning of work, has had a lot of rest, but he pitches a strike to Brandinovich, excuse me. He was 0 for 1, bounced out to first base. One and 1 to Eric, who also came up mid-season. Good-looking left-handed stick. So 2 and 1, Mike Henderson and Jonathan Marquez set to follow. Look out. Life flashed before young Mr. Brandanovich's eyes there. It's 3 and 1. So Foreman has thrown 61 pitches coming into the inning, and that's a wide strike, 3 and 2. It's Brandanovich taking all the way. Fastball swung on and missed. Strikeout number 6 for Foreman, and that'll bring up Mike Henderson playing at first base. Ground ball, and that goes off of Riskin's glove, and that'll be an error on the third baseman, E5. So the Cougars still without a hit, but they have a base runner. And that'll bring up the top of the order, and Jonathan Marquez. Steve Leva would be next. Here comes the ball 1 pitch, and that's a bunt up the third base line. Riskin playing back. Strong throw on a bounce, and Gone can't handle it. as we watch the replay. So we're going to give another error on the third baseman. And Leyva trying to do it again. So the Normans of Beverly Hills getting a little bored out there, it looks like, because Brilliant couldn't get the ball out of his hand to throw it down there. I do believe that's a new first baseman. Hopefully we can get that checked out. Number 11, I believe, is out there now. Steve Leyva coming up is 0 for 1 with a walk. Fastball right down the middle. And it's 2-1. Foul back, it's 2-2. Hawthorne, if they don't get something going in a hurry, could get swept here by Beverly Hills, and this one's tapped, picked up by Foreman. Nice throw to first base. But on the play, it was like a bunt almost, a swinging bunt. As Henderson goes to third, Marquez to second on the 1-3 putout. Andrew Banuelos steps in, and he hits it into right field, and that falls in. Did it fall in? Yes, it did. That's the first hit of the day for the Cougars, and it's a 2-run single by Andrew Banuelos, and it's now 12-2. So the first hit of the day for the Cougars, a line drive to right. And 2 unearned runs. That'll bring up Chris Robles with 2 down and 1 on. Swing and a miss on a high fastball. Chris is 0 for 2 and got out on a fielder's choice back in the 4th inning. Curveball, and that bites off the inside corner. 0-2. That was nasty with a capital T. Just a little breaking ball that stayed on the inside part of the plate. And Robles couldn't do anything with it. So it's 0-2. Fastball outside, and that was a pitch out. Brilliant was waiting to see if Andrew Banuelos was going to go. So now it's 2-2 to Robles. Andrew Banuelos has 8 stolen bases, but it doesn't matter because Robles strikes out. 2 strikeouts in the inning, 7 overall for Foreman, but 2 runs come across for the Cougars, and they break the goose egg, not only in the run column, but the hit column as well, but still trailed by 10. Top of the 6th we go, and it will be Jared Foreman, followed by Andres Brilliant and Nick Riskin. Steve Leyva now behind the plate for Chris Robles. Robert Melharis still out on the mound. I'm sure there's some other defensive changes. Line drive right at the second baseman, and Jonathan Marquez is there to put it away. So Foreman hitting it hard, but right into the glove of Marquez, who presumably will end his day. One for three, excuse me. First pitch to Brilliant is outside. Foreman had a 2-run home run in the first, struck out in the second, was on an error in the third, walked in the fourth, and just lined out to second base. 2-0 now to Brilliant. Andres is 2 for 4, but has been on base 3 times. Had a base hit and scored in the first, a ground rule double in the second. 2-1. Was on a fielder's choice back in the third and struck out looking in the fourth. This one's lined into the gap into right center field, and this one's going to go all the way to the wall. Brilliant is already at second and stops there with a 1-out double. This went with the pitch and beautifully placed it over Marquez's head, and that thing didn't waste any time splitting the 2 outfielders. I know Steve Leyva isn't out in the center field anymore because he's behind the plate. So that'll bring up Nick Reskin, the third baseman, who had a little bit of trouble back in the bottom of the inning. And this one is grounded right back to Melharis, who throws it away, and coming all the way around to score is Brilliant. So an error on the pitcher, that leads to a run, and it's 13-2. That brings up a new hitter, number 17, who looks at a ball. Ball 2. Number 17 is Leo Berlinski. Two and one now to Berlinski, who comes in with his second at bat of the year. With a 13-2 lead, getting off the bench to try to contribute. 2-2 now to Berlinski. Way outside. So now it's 3-1. So you can hear Venzi Pasinger, the head coach of the Normans, telling Berlinski to wait on the fastball. And this one hops away from Leyva, and down to third base goes Reskin on the wild pitch. And down to first base goes Berlinski with a walk. Walk number 4 for Melharis, and that'll bring up Parker Davis, who is 0 for 1, walked in the 5th inning. Oh and 1 to Parker Davis. Davis, the left fielder, had been DH'd for by Ethan Foreman. So Davis coming in with a 167 average. And now Melharis is getting wild. His balls, the balls that are out of the strike zone are really getting out of the strike zone, like that one there, way up high. So that's a good idea. Maybe it's the ball's fault. Swing and a miss. Foul tipped into the glove of Steve Leyva, and that's 2-2. So 1 out and 1 on. Check that, 2 on. And the ball gets away from Leyva. And down to second base goes Berlinski. Strike 3 called, and Davis knew it. Terrific pitch there by Melharis. And that's strikeout number 3. That'll bring up Grant Thompson, who is 3 for 3 with a walk and 2 runs scored and an RBI. So the 7th batter doing a lot of damage for the Normans as he looks at strike 1 from Melharis. Curveball, and that is low for a ball. So Thompson with the RBI now has 3, and the 3 hits, or check that, 4 RBI, and the 3 hits gives him 18. So 2 on and 2 out, and look out. 2-1. Riskin over at third base. At second is Leo Berlinski. Low, ball 3. So 3-1 with 2 down. And a big lead. Don't think these Normans are going to start running, but a big lead on the base paths is Berlinski. And this one is outside. So the bases are loaded now for Beverly Hills, and that brings up Jackson Martin. Jeff Hines looking to make a pitching change here after the 5th walk by Melharis, who came in the top of the 4th inning with 1 out and 1 on. Yeah, maybe he's just trying to calm down, Jeff Hines. Because this is the 3rd pitcher that the Cougars have used, and even though this is the last game of the week, you don't know who's left to pitch. So Jeff trying to make do with what's in the cupboard. Now Jackson Martin getting ready to step in. Jackson is 2 for 4. Had a 2-run single back in the 3rd inning. A single back in the 4th, came around to score, and struck out looking twice. First pitch to him is a ball. But right now Reskin is at 3rd. Berlinski at 2nd, and Thompson at 1st for the Normans. And a good backhanded stop by Leyva. This one's popped high into right field. Settling under it is Riley for the out. And that'll do it for the Beverly Hills Normans in the top of the 6th inning. No runs on 1 hit, and they leave the bases loaded as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Robert Melharis' spot and Alberto Melendrez's spot. First pitch is bounced into Brilliant's glove. 0-1. Riley walked and was stranded at second, his only time up. Slider just off the plate, and it's 2-1. Coming into the inning, Foreman, excuse me, look out. Riley had to duck out of the way of that one. It's 3-1. Foreman has thrown 80 pitches. And this one's popped foul, so it's 3-2. So it's 13-2. Fastball in on the hands, a good pitch, and Grant Thompson picks it up, fires it across on a bounce, and it gets away from the first baseman. And on the error by the shortstop is Max Riley. So only one hit for the Cougars today. And the third error of the day. Pitch is up, and this is Melharis. Who is 0 for 1 officially with a walk. And a 2-0 count here. Infield looking for two for Beverly Hills. Swing and a miss. 2-1. Called strike 2 on the curveball. And fouled at the plate. Lone run was scored by Mike Henderson, who was on an error. Or check that, 2 runs were scored. Henderson and Marquez scored on a 2-run single by Andrew Banuelos. This one goes through the legs of Brilliant, and down to second base on the wild pitch goes Riley. So Riley just might be running out of gas. He's been out there for a long time. And getting up around 90 pitches. Now it's 3-2. Outside, and the ball gets away from Brilliant, but not far enough. So 2 out and, or check that, 2 on and nobody out. And Albert Melendrez steps in. Alberto struck out swinging back in the 4th inning. Swings and doesn't get this one. Don't see anybody throwing in the Norman bullpen right now. Fastball, and that's way up high. So 1-1 now to Melendrez. That was bunted off the plate and called foul by Ramey McCoy, the home plate umpire. Albert got off to a quick start. So they're not holding on the runner at first base, Melharis. That is Leo Berlinski out at first base now for the Normans. And this was grounded to short in the hole on the second for one and thrown into right field for an error. And a run's going to score. Riley comes around to score to make it 13-3. And down to third base goes Melharis. And there you see the throw from short to second going into right field. And staying at first is Melendrez on the fielder's choice. So second error on the shortstop today, so that's 4 errors on the Normans, even though they have a 10-run lead. Now Eric Brandonovich steps in. And pulls it into right field. And a nice throw in by Jackson Martin, I believe that is, to hold the runner at third base. And Coach Pasinger over at Beverly Hills not happy with the way his Normans played that one. There you saw the first baseman, instead of having his arms up to give a target, had his arms down. So that's what Coach Pasinger was not happy with. But still, the result was good because the throw was right to the catcher, Andres Brilliant. Strike, a nice slider, breaking ball to Henderson, who struck out in the third inning, was on an error to the third baseman, and came around to score on the 2-run single by Banuelos, Andrew Banuelos. Just low, 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1-2. Grounded to third base on this first for another, and a double play around the horn. 5-4-3 on the double play for the Normans, and down go the threat for the Cougars. A beautiful double play. Turned. Riskin to Ross to Berlinski. And we'll go to the top of the 7th. Top of the second inning we go, or 7th inning we go. And a strike to the pinch hitter. Oh, check that. That's Rigo Fernandez. Fernandez put back in the game. And our new pitcher out there is Eric Brandonovich, as this one's hit high in the air down the right field line, chasing for it and running out of room, and it drops foul. Good effort by Max Riley out there. But it's a long strike. 2-2. So Fernandez, who already has a long 3-run home run, pokes this one over shortstop, just out of the reach of actually, that's not Banuelos. Andrew Banuelos is now over at third base. We have a new shortstop. Hopefully we can get his number. And just out of the reach. Jonathan Marquez over at shortstop now. So that means we have a new second baseman. So we'll have to check, see his number over at second base. And this one's pulled foul down the line by Berger, his second at bat. This one's popped foul off the end of the bat. And it's 1-2 to Berger. Off the hands and rolled up the third baseline. Nice fielding by Banuelos. 5-3 on the putout. And the runner at second stays put. Actually, Fernandez advances to second. And now Jared Foreman steps in, going all the way at pitcher. It's been a long day. 3 hours and 15 minutes worth so far. Or check that, 2 hours and 15 minutes. Didn't mean to upset everybody in the truck there. Here comes the 1-0. 2-0. Brandonovich inside to Foreman, who started the offense off with a 2-run home run, his first of the year. Got all of it. This one bounces over the head and into center field. Watch that replay. Oh, just short hopped. He took that big hop over the head of the new second baseman, Escavas. Fouled back by Brilliant, who's had a terrific day himself. Just short of brilliant. And this one is hit over the head of shortstop into left field. In to score is Fernandez to make it 14-3. Foreman goes to third base on the RBI double. Reskin is now out of the game, and we have a new Norman out there. Martin. Max Martin. Fouled at the plate, 1-2. Fastball outside. Maxwell coming in batting .368, has 6 RBIs, 7 hits, has a home run and a sacrifice fly and reaches for this one, and this one's going to get blown by the wind and over the head of Jose Sandoval. This is going to score 2 runs on the double by the pinch hitter Max Martin. So 2 more runs come in, and that makes it 16-3. So Sandoval losing that one in the sun. First came in and then realized it was over his head, and that ball hits Leo Berlinski, and down to first he goes. Leo walked his first time up. That'll bring up Parker Davis. Looks at a ball. And now Steve Leyva, who's catching in relief of Chris Robles, goes out to have a chat with Brandonovich, his young pitcher. Leyva is a junior, but he's been around in this varsity squad for maybe 3 years now. Davis 1 for 1. Walked and struck out looking, and now looks at a strike. It's 1-1 to him. Bites off the outside corner. Now it's 1-2. Vincey Pasinger keeping poking and prodding his players. This one's off the hands. Nice play by Brandonovich. Bad throw though, but it's saved by Henderson. So 1-3 on the putout. Now it's 2 down for Grant Thompson. And on the play, Martin goes down to third. To second goes Berlinski. That brings up Grant Thompson. Or Santos now. It's 1-1 to Santos. Strike 2. Ricardo Santos is a senior, swings and misses, and strikes out. But in the inning, 3 more runs come across. And on 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. As we go to the bottom of the 7th, the last call for the Cougars. Last call for the Cougars in the bottom of the 7th. It'll be Jonathan Marquez, Steve Leyva, and Andrew Banuelos to face Beverly Hills' closer. And pitching strikes, the lefty. One and one to Marquez. That's Rigo Fernandez. Curveball. A 60-footer. So Fernandez takes over for Foreman. And it's 3-1 to Marquez, who is 0 for 1. Was on a walk to lead off the bottom of the 1st and was on an error and scored in the 5th. And in between that, bounced out to 3rd. And gets another leadoff walk. And in for Steve Leyva comes Mr. Ramirez, Antonio Ramirez. Antonio trying to get something up in that jet stream. But first on the agenda, you want to make Fernandez pitch strikes. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Swing and a miss, and down goes Ramirez. 1 strikeout, 1 walk for Fernandez. That'll bring up Andrew Banuelos with 1 out and 1 on. Andrew Banuelos is 1 for 3, has the lone Cougar hit today. This one's looped over second base, and that's going to fall in for a hit. Look out. Almost a force out. And for Jonathan Marquez, he should know that there's no force. Or that is a force. You got to get to the bag. Looked like he might have hesitated getting there, but well, I guess he was going to get caught anyway in no man's land there. Because he didn't know if the shortstop or the center fielder out there, now playing for Beverly Hills, was going to catch it or not. So I'll retract my statement. But second hit of the day for Andrew Banuelos, and swing and a miss on a pinch hitter for the Cougars, number 22. And that's Chavez. Moises Chavez. And that gets away from Brilliant. And on the wild pitch, both runners move into scoring position. Marquez over at third, Banuelos at second. On the 1-2 count, swing and a miss, and down goes Chavez. So 2 strikeouts, and now down to their last out, and it's Max Riley. First pitch is in for a strike. Riley walked and was on an error and scored back in the 6th inning. Ball sails away, but right back to Brilliant. So it's 1-1. So Jared Foreman went 6 innings, gave up 1 hit, 3 runs, none of them earned, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks, and a wild pitch, and a 2-run home run. And 2 hits. Strike 2. So now it's match point for the Cougars, as Riley thought that might have been outside. With 2 outs and 2 on, and a 1-2 count. Low, 2-2. So now deuces are wild. Rigo Fernandez, the left-hander, trying to mop things up for Foreman. Bounce to second base. And that's the ball game. 4-3 on the putout. And the Cougars go down and leave a couple after a base hit. So no runs on a hit in that inning. So 2 hits in all for the Hawthorne Cougars. And they fall to the Beverly Hills Normans 16 to 3. 16 hits, 16 runs on 19 hits for the Normans. 3 runs on just 2 hits for the Hawthorne Cougars. And the Normans improve to at least 7-11 and at least 2-2 in league. Meanwhile, the Cougars fall to 0-6 in league, in the Ocean League, and fall to 11-9-1 overall, and they are now 6-4 at home. Checking Jared Foreman, I believe that is his first win of the year, but let's just to check it and be sure. For Foreman, now he is 2-5 on the year. After the way he pitched today, a little bit up high, a little wild, but still only 2 wins. That's kind of hard to believe the way he threw today. And for Jose Banuelos, his record is 0-1. Well, our player of the game for the Hawthorne Cougars has to be Andrew Banuelos, who had a 2-run single back in the 5th inning to get actually as no RBIs, but it was a 2-run single at best. And so Andrew Banuelos with 2 hits, and he was responsible for 2 of the 3 runs for the Cougars, is our CityTV player of the game. Well, for our terrific CityTV crew, this is Lou Stowers saying once again the score from Halcap Field, the Normans 16-3, I believe, 16-3 over the Hawthorne Cougars. Until next time, so long.